We're gonna talk for 7
No,
hours.
we're not gonna talk. Maybe, I don't know how deep the conversation goes. Hold on.
I can be like my authentic self. Like I can make jokes and puns and everything, or no?
You can, but that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, you know?
Dang, instead of driving long distances and just listening to music that like has no substance and is going in one ear out the other, I'd rather be investing in my mind. And then I started to think about podcasts.
That's exactly what I do now. I've recently, I guess, figured that I need to make the most out of my time. And one of the things that you do, which statistically we spend, I'm not going to bring up statistics. I don't know about none of these statistics. I'm just trying to sound smart. Look, there's a lot, we spend a lot of our time driving, a shitload of our time driving. Like I'd say on a given day, I drive when I'm busy, maybe an hour, 2 hours. And if you can invest that time to listen, even if it's just conversation and, you know, vocabulary, especially vocabulary, because I think a lot of people are just focused on, you know, listening to music, which is fine. You know, I like music. The only problem is when you get into that repetitive nature of listening to like the same lyrics over and over again, and they're not even most of the time, let's be honest, the vocabulary and the grammar isn't all there.
What I like about podcasts is that on different platforms, they're free. You know, because normally when you buy a new car, that comes with like that radio that you have to pay for like 6 months, right? All that, right? Yeah. But this is a free podcast that you can just put in your car and listen to. Just to also let our audience know, we are not experts in any like subject matters that we'll be talking about.
Yeah, no,
it's really based on our own opinion,
perspective,
and
of course we
experience.
We'll fact check any opposing conversations or clear it up. I mean, feel free. We're not at all experts. I'm not an expert by any means. I read the news. I have my own.
I'm a little bit of an expert.
I have some opinions.
Why did we decide Beyond Conversation?
So I figured when we initially toyed with the title, I was trying to kind of bring up a broad subject, because that's the thing regarding these conversations that we'll be having, is I don't want to really focus too much on one particular subject matter or one particular point of view. Like I think that's important, especially in the day and age that we're in right now, is to have these different ideas sometimes that challenge each other to kind of get a better form of thinking and allowing a better form of thinking. Because sometimes, especially in the time we're living in, a lot of things aren't, and I think a better, I don't have a better term, but politically correct, like to say certain things or certain thoughts, even if they oppose the majority. And these are the types of conversations where I have. So given that specific Beyond Conversation title, I want to kind of give this subtext as far as what it is, which is, it is a conversation, but it's like every conversation, I think it should have more layers to just a conversation.
I thought I got it. I was going to get a dog because I wanted to be a little bit more responsible and have a routine. And he's been really good, like a companion. But now it just solidifies that I cannot have children, and I don't want to have children. Because they're a huge responsibility.
No, they are. But I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit more difficult to talk with a dog. Ryan, at this point, like, that's my son. My 3-year-old son. I got 2 kids, but one of them is 3, the other one's 6. Oh yeah, we'll discuss that right now. I'm getting off head, but my point is regarding that. I have a conversation with him, and I could get an understanding. Like, so if he's fucking barking in the background, I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? Can you stop? Why are you doing this? And he tells me the problem, and it's real easy, especially when you have that established communication, right? But going back,
you're saying I don't have established communication with my dog.
I don't want to get into the behavioral issues of
you're like what I've seen since I've been here.
Yeah, like there's a lot of little key factors that I've just joking. That's really the purpose of what we're trying to actually do as far as this podcast goes, is try to challenge
deep.
Well, hopefully, right? I'm pretty sure we are. And
not deep, just substance in our conversation.
Exactly. So we're gonna have things that we're gonna be hopefully. What I'm hoping for, honestly, is having arguments. You know what I mean? I want to have not arguments,
verbal, physical,
maybe. This discussions where we disagree, especially because if we disagree about big important topics, I think that kind of allows a lot of people to have that insight on these opposing arguments. Yeah, I think that's real important. I know Michael since elementary. We were in elementary together. I mean, by now those memories are really faded. Like I'm talking, I see photos and I'm like, damn, I don't remember that.
I don't remember you even like being in my class.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I didn't know we were in the same class together
until we saw the picture.
Until we saw the photo, and I was like, oh shit, that's Michael. Yeah. Looking at me nasty for eating my cake.
Oh yes, I remember. It was like what, first or kindergarten? Like first grade or kindergarten? Maybe first grade. First grade.
Yeah, it was first grade.
Yeah, but no, the real story was that you were playing by yourself in the corner with blocks and nobody would talk to you, and so I
don't
felt
remember
bad
that.
for you.
I think you're fragmenting at this point.
we reconnected again, like we knew each other in middle school, right? And like
it was
had like a fair friendship, right?
Yeah, because I don't think in elementary we actually I mean, what do you have? What is a real friendship in fucking elementary unless your mom like forces you to have like these?
It's just crazy, right? That like we go back and we're like, whoa, we knew each other, and that happens so often with people. You like cross paths with them, and you didn't even realize that you crossed paths with them unless you look like at a photo and you're like, oh my god, you were in that scenario. You were there in that situation.
It's a small world,
isn't it crazy?
Yeah, it's a small world.
So then we really connected though in high school.
Yeah,
right?
In high school we connected. I think it was freshman year. I don't even know why we connected or what was the actual premise. I think the premise was the fact that we knew each other in elementary, and then from there, well, we kind of fit in because, I mean, like any relationship between any person, you get along easier with others. And I know that for a fact that, you know, I'm pretty sure you have friends that you're like, fuck, they're like, oh, this fucking guy. No, it's because there's some
I'm pointing
people.
At Victor.
Is there some people, right, that you're like, fuck, like this guy.
There is like, but not that there's a sense of tolerance for people. I just feel like we have the freedom to kind of just choose who we're around, right?
Yeah.
And,
no, of course.
But there is, I don't know. I've never like really.
You don't have people, friends who like, not that you don't like, but that you would rather not hang out with, or you would choose other people to hang out with rather than.
I just feel like if I'm very about energy, and if I don't even like vibe right, I'm just kind of like, I just kind of like subconsciously avoid that person in a way. I'm not even trying to, like, not even in a rude way. It's just kind of like gravitates towards people that I get along with and that we have conversations with.
Well, in high school it was a lot easier to have friends. Like not to have friends. No, it's hard. No, it was a lot easier because we were all in the same environment, right? It was real easy to kind of see who is where and what I guess priorities they're at. And I think in high school we were the type of people to, it's weird because like right now I want to say I'd like to consider myself an introvert. Like if I had the option between going somewhere where there's a crowd and staying home, I would rather stay home. If I make that clear, because I don't like people who misuse introvert. Like, I'm just an introvert. I don't like talking to people. And over here I'm yapping away right on the fucking mic. No, I'd rather stay home as like my decision making. So in high school, I don't know if I had that same mindset, but because I met Michael, it kind of introduced me to like being, I guess, more open to a lot of different people.
I like that you bring up like introvert and extrovert, because if you see me, people would automatically assume that I'm an extrovert because I'm very social.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy being social.
Yeah.
But that's just like a facade. Like when I walk out the door, you have to, not that you have to put on a mask, but you have to perform and you have to be, that's just how I am. I just like to network. But I would rather just stay home also and chill and have my me time and be like in my sanctuary. So it's weird. Like I feel like for my profession, especially you too, because you're always interacting with people and customers, you kind of like have to make,
I don't know if
a living,
if the word introvert or extrovert may be correctly defining that instance, because I could even arguably say that to be able to speak to people without having to worry about how you feel about yourself is a skill that you develop. You know what I mean? Whether you like it or not, like anything. I mean, sometimes I personally, I hate running, but I can run a good distance, like without being tired. And that's because of training. You know what I mean? You, after a while, you condition yourself to breathe differently and whatnot. So I would argue that speaking to people is about having that practice. And I exponentially, since high school, I've gotten a lot better at speaking, like, let alone this, like having this conversation. I know, like, people seeing this, you see it in a format, right? You see it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, right? Or even hearing it. But we're just speaking to a camera, to each other, to a mic, and it's in a sense an artificial situation that we ourselves created, right? And even in a sense that takes it takes discipline to have this ongoing conversation, kind of having the ganas, the motivation.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree. I mean, I agree to an extent, but for simple terms, right? But I know we go beyond conversation, but in simple terms, I think an extrovert is just someone who puts themselves out there.
In summary.
And an introvert is someone who is just more to themselves, or like rather be like in a smaller group of people.
Okay, so like in your instance, right? As you say you would consider yourself an introvert.
I feel like I have a little bit of both.
Or you prefer to be an introvert?
I prefer to be an introvert.
Because the thing, I feel like I'm an extrovert because I don't mind doing new things, but I prefer to be an introvert. You understand?
Because it's just way more simple.
Yeah,
I feel like
I'm selfish.
No, I tell people, I'm like, man, how do you? Because it's like I always have people.
I don't care about you.
People always expect. I feel like, or maybe I think that they expect me to be a certain type of way. Because I at the beginning, I just want to be like super optimistic, and I think the word optimistic and happy, people refer to like extroverts a lot. I feel when you think of the word introvert, I think people think like, oh, that guy's like,
it's correlated,
like, you know, but I don't know. It's not fair to say because I don't know. It's just exhausting sometimes being an extrovert.
It is. No, I understand sometimes. I mean, that's why I have a lot of me time. I do. Going back into because I'm trying to loop into that conversation as far as how we met. We used to be really in high school. I mean, that's the thing. It's a different thing. Like high school is a totally different thing than what we have right now, right? In high school, we were social butterflies, I guess if you want to call it, right? Where we go to people, we talk to people, we'd go to football games, and what we do in was it yearbook, right?
Yeah,
and like background and talk to people and sell tickets and do all these types of things. We went to Austin for a student council meeting, and we were talking to little kids. I think it was little kids, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We were putting ourselves out there, and people were like trying to snatch us. Like, oh, you would be good for yearbook because you're not afraid to get in there and take those pictures, or you'd be good for student council because it's about campaigning.
I thought that's good.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's skills that I was able to really take on with me after high school. So I'm excited to get into that too. Like, right. So we were really close in high school. We were really involved in school activities. You know, we were social.
No, not only just activities. We would go out. Like,
we would go out to like
clubs when we were young.
Yeah, I don't even know how we got in there. And parties, and we're like, what?
I mean, I'm telling you, it's a different time.
It was a different time.
Different thing. I mean, when you were a kid, that's what sometimes I kind of think. I'm like, damn.
It's become so normalized though, right?
Yeah,
today.
nowadays.
Oh, you haven't gone to
a party? That's kind of weird.
You're 13 years old.
Yeah, back then it was like kind of in the middle of everything. Like I think it was in the middle of like it's kind of normal, but you don't want to talk about it.
Social media wasn't like super
that
like
was
a thing, or like phones. Not everybody had a phone.
Yeah, no. It
was a luxury.
If we were young now, we'd be Instagram stars. No, it's because we would make a lot of like random content. Like right now we're doing this, and we'll get into the story about what happened after high school because there was like. I think it's a good time to get into it now.
Really quick, but remember when we were in high school, we were already making videos and stuff?
Yeah.
It was already like an innate thing that we wanted to do.
And there was no platform.
There was no platform.
There wasn't like, let's upload it to YouTube. We had MySpace.
It was MySpace. But those videos that we would show to people, they thought they were hilarious. But we didn't have a platform.
No, there was no platform.
Even though YouTube was kind of like up and coming, nobody had the access to...
the ease of just, hey, let's upload it. Fucking phone. Dude, this fucking phone does more than a computer did when I was in high school. That's what I'm saying. That's crazy. It's crazy. And that's opportunity. Yeah. That's crazy opportunity at that age.
Hey, but we weren't like, so after we were in the same high school freshman year, I think sophomore year also. And then junior year, wasn't it when you left to another high school?
Yeah, in junior year, I went to Palmview because they were having some... Palmview High School, it's...
There we go.
There's these, like every person, and especially in the United States, right? We have high school rivalry. I don't know if that's common in, foreign places.
Well, there's 3 high schools in our school district.
Yeah, in our school district. And like within, like say 5-10 miles. We have, right? It's like within 10 miles of each other. Right? It's not too far. But there was this process that happened during high school that
like rezoning.
Yeah, because of I think they were redrawing the district or like the county. I don't know what was happening.
Well, because they were gonna eventually move, like they were building the new schools.
Oh yeah,
and so they were gonna start like figuring it out.
Exactly, yeah.
And so that's why
It was that. It was the option wasn't to go to Juarez. It was either go to another high school called La Jolla, which wasn't an option. Basically, okay, look, I don't mean to offend anyone about anything, but during that time, it was really not the best idea to go to La Jolla High School.
I was also supposed to go to that high school. Yeah, but I was like, I've been in Juarez Lincoln for 2 of my.
How did you end up traveling to there?
The reason I was able to get approved, and the crazy thing is that I live right down the street from that high school, and they're like, no, you're going to the high school that's farther. It just didn't make sense. But my aunt worked at the school, and I also applied for like not like an appeal process, but kind of still sticking to the like if I wanted to go to Juarez, I could still go to Juarez, but I had to get like a reference letter from a teacher and stuff like that, and I was able to make it work because again I was really involved, and I feel like I had built like a good reputation and like a little bit of a legacy at our high school, and that was important to me.
It's established friends, o sea.
So it did
connections.
Yeah, it was. I was gonna do it. I was gonna stick.
Here's the thing. At the time, if I knew what I knew now, I probably would have stayed at Juarez because I didn't understand about that consistency. That's the problem. When you're young, you don't really understand about the gravity of every decision you make, it's important, especially in high school, which is something I try to teach my little sister, which she's currently in high school, about. Like, your decisions have an effect. I didn't have a parent. I have parents, right? But I didn't have a mom or a dad who were really kind of focusing on kind of explaining to me how important these details are. And I don't think, like, did you, like, as far as like, hey, you need to make sure you take these classes to go to college, like, that wasn't a discussion for me. So regarding choosing which school to stay at, it was all about convenience. My mom's, she owns a beauty salon, and the beauty salon is located really close to the school I ended up transferring to. And at the end of the day, that was the concern, convenience.
For sure. And I think that's the only reason I was able to stay at Juarez Lincoln is because, like I mentioned, I had an aunt who worked at that school, and she offered to like carpool. And so she would pick us up and take us. If not, my parents wouldn't not have been able to do that.
Oh, no, but these guys, I think, you guys shit on me about that, right?
Yeah, you left?
Yeah. I don't know who it was, but there's always a group of friends, like a group of circle that everyone kind of knows. And I think that was the consensus, like, well, you left and shit. And I didn't mean to. It's like the lesser evils, I guess.
I forgot about the convenience part. Like, I know we don't have the luxury. Like, we come from a community where our parents have to work. Both parents have to work.
Especially back in the day. Yeah. Nowadays, it's a little bit more because you got family. My circumstances, I know a lot of people have like families and cousins here. My family and the majority of my cousins, like I'm talking majority, I have no cousins here immediately, or uncles or aunts. The closest ones I have are second deals, which I don't even conversate with because they're fucking weird. But they're in Kingsville, and like I said, I'm not gonna talk to them. Like, fuck, like, not to be rude, I mean, but like, it's not something where it's like, hey, what's up, second deal? How you doing? You know, you're my dad's cousin. Like, that's my point. Yeah. So it was extremely about convenience. The closest people I have were in Mexico, Monterrey, or Dallas, and so it was about that. Like, who's gonna give me a ride, or who's gonna wake me up, and like,
what school did you like better? Like, not like in terms of school, but like the experience. Like your first 2 years at Juarez Lincoln, or your last 2 years at.
I can't say, because here's the thing: they were the same amount of time, right? I made 8 friends on both sides and memories on both sides. I know. I'll tell you the truth. It was a lot simpler in Juarez because I was younger, and a lot of things that happened in my later years in high school, which is why me and Michael, actually going back to subject matter, why we ended up like, I guess, an absence in our communication. Like right now, me and Michael, before this day, we have not been together in this setting where we have a conversation, sitting down for a cup of coffee. Years, I think maybe 4 years, 3 years.
Wasn't it since we graduated from high school?
No, there was that one time where you went over to my house when I had my first son. I think he was 2 or 1, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
it was like 6 years ago.
But we didn't have a conversation.
Yeah, it wasn't a conversation. It was like a quick.
How are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. How
and
are
I really
you?
didn't care.
Yeah.
So I don't even know why I asked.
We were still in that weird mode. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying like, how are you doing? And you say like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
References.
Yeah,
We always got to tie it back to
I forget.
I don't know why I asked her. I should have just said hello. No, but yeah, we just like reconnect because we've always been the type of people that we can pick up where we left off.
Yeah, no, it's cool. That's what's cool. It's just not weird. And that's one of the things, like, before this day right now where we're actually talking was something I was concerned about. That's why I actually called you beforehand. Obviously, I was called, right? I'm just not going to text you. But I made sure to have the first phone call with him a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I don't know how long it was. I think it was 2 weeks ago, right? And to kind of break that ice about conversating, because it's weird. Like, I haven't talked to him in 6 years. We're different people. We are.
Yeah.
Our experiences make us different people, which is another reason why I stopped. It wasn't just with you. Like, after high school, once we graduated, I kind of lost communication with a vast majority of my friends, like high school friends.
Yeah.
And
well, because you became a dad.
Yeah,
and
exactly. I had a kid.
You have a business 18. That you're running and stuff. Like,
no, not even. It wasn't even about the business yet. My business was until a year after. It was a kid. It was like specifically why after high school I kind of disassociated from everyone is because it felt weird. It felt weird. I was going through something life changing. Right. I had a kid at 18. I was seeing, the belly, birth, all that stuff, new dad responsibility. So I didn't feel like I belonged. Not even like I wasn't disassociating. I wasn't disassociating you guys from me. I was disassociating myself from you guys.
You're talking about right after high school?
Right after high school. No, in fact, during high school, dude. Senior year, I had my first son.
Oh.
And so that made me feel. I don't know if it was ashamed, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was a few years after high school where I was trying to look for myself. Now it's recording. Well, recording sound either way, so.
Wait, it wasn't recording?
No, it was, but it just stopped. Okay, going back. One of the things that's different is that I'm 26. How old are you for real?
I'm 26.
Okay.
We're the same age.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was like. Anyway,
I'm gonna fact check.
Yeah, let me check. No, so one of the things that happened right after high school that I had a kid, and when you're 18 and or let's say you're 19, right, a year after high school, and you meet a friend and they say, "How you been?" Or like, "Oh, I have my 2-year-old." It's like, at that age, for someone to have a kid, you immediately start going like, "Oh shit, like how's everything?" Like you start having this like sensitive downplay of. We all recognize that wasn't the best decision to make. You know what I mean?
It just sounds, I mean, maybe that is partly true, but it just also sounds like you were thinking that in your head, that people were thinking that.
No, and I did. I mean, people weren't judging me like that, but I felt like ashamed.
Would you have done that if it was the opposite situation? Like if someone that you knew, did you think that when people would tell you like if they had a kid before you had a kid or what?
I'm not gonna lie. No, look, I'm gonna be honest. When you're in high school, dude, and you see people pregnant, come on, what's the first thing you say? Like, oh shit, like pendeja, like dumbass, like what the fuck, like in high school especially, and that's normal. Like I know, dude, I'm not talking out of context or in an insensitive matter. I had a kid in high school, so that's why I'm saying. I know how people would think because there was people before me, right, who had kids, and you'd be like, "Oh fuck, she's pregnant." Like it wasn't over. Like, dude, come on. Whenever
it's not the social norm. Like
exactly.
It wasn't the social norm, so it was different. Right?
Yeah, and that's the whole point. Is in high school when someone says you had a kid, and it was never like, "Oh, you had a kid. When's the baby shower? And what are we gonna do?" The thing is like, dude, how are you gonna raise a kid? You don't have money. Like you don't live by yourself, bro. Like you can't. Did you check with CPS? Like, fuck, you're underage.
Dude, that's crazy. I didn't even know that you had your child when you were a senior. I thought it was after high school.
No, it was senior year. In fact, 6 months, or no, I'm exaggerating. 3 months before graduation, I stopped going to school.
Oh.
I stopped going to school, and I missed all my class. I didn't graduate with my class.
You didn't? But
I went to summer. The funny thing is, they have this program where I missed, like, if you don't get all your credits, you have the ability to do them in like computers labs or whatever. Well, I went for 1 day and because they make you take tests. If you get an A on it or a B or whatever, like you basically get the credit. And I got A's on all of them, so I got my credits immediately. And one day I got all my shit and got my graduation.
I will say this about you though, that when I was in high school, I really thought you were one of the smartest persons that I knew in our high school, because you always have been smart. And I know this doesn't have no correlation between the decision that you made to get somebody pregnant, but like
it might.
Well, because I'm saying to it, because you were really smart, but like, why didn't you just use protection?
Yeah, that's it. Here's the thing.
Like, come on, like, look, you know what I'm saying? Like,
the first, that's my ex. Just to say, I'm not in a relationship with her anymore. I have I guess you could say wife, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm happy with it, because speaking of her, she was my first love, Kathy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, fucking crazy over her. Like, in middle school, dude, I was infatuated.
Wow, yeah, I didn't know that.
And so I
was really good friends with her in middle school.
And she's like, I don't know if you knew, but I that was my first love. In fact, when she broke up with me, dude, oh my God. Oh.
It hurt.
Dude, it hurt, bro. I was in the front lawn crying like the fucking world was dying. Oh, wow. So like now I'm in a relationship with her and I have a beautiful boy. Both of my boys are beautiful, but the point I'm trying to make is that what was the point I was trying to make?
I've just asked you, why didn't you use it? Yeah, protection.
That was my first. I was a virgin before. Like, I know it's a little bit weird. Like, I was a virgin. I was a virgin before my first, and I didn't know. Like, I was living in this la la land where no, nothing's gonna happen. Like, let's think. Like my mom. Have you ever seen the power of the secret that book, The Secret, where the power of thought controls? Yeah. Obviously it doesn't.
You're like,
work.
oh, let me tell myself it's not gonna happen. You can do it. But wait, exactly. So you didn't think of using it because you didn't know any better?
No, it's not that I didn't know any better. Obviously, you know the basics of human. You know, the
so
physical.
I'm saying you were always like all about anatomy and like biology.
Yes, the problem is the for lack of a better word, the physical took over. I guess, like, you know, like that's what I'm saying. It's just being stupid. I'm young, you know. You make these rash, not thought out. You thinking in the moment, and that was
shock. I was a little bit shocked, I think, when I found out, because I'm like, what?
That exact reaction, what people didn't expect. I mean, I had teachers who would look at you. You tell them like, yeah, I'm expecting a baby. They look at you fucking like, oh, like in a disapproving manner.
Did you think that...
And I hate that shit.
Yeah. Well,
that's like, why I stopped talking to people, because...
But wait. Do you think that... I know that that's not fair, right? People shouldn't have been doing that, obviously. But do you think it's because they knew the potential you had, and like they knew that this was going to change the trajectory of your life?
Oh, no, of course. But if anything, here's the thing. Once I've actually... And it's real weird, because... if you've never been through a certain situation, you really can't, I guess, relate yourself to you can't relate yourself to that situation. So you can't really imagine, or you can only imagine. That's what I'm saying. And even imagining doesn't do justice, right? So if I was a teacher and I gone through that and I see that, I would have had a conversation with myself. Like, I would have told him, hey, dude, like,
things are going to be okay.
Things are going to be okay. Like, this doesn't mean anything. It's in fact, you're gonna love that baby. I'm gonna start crying. No, you're gonna love that baby. Like, it's gonna change your life, but the best way possible.
Yes.
Which is eventually what I realized. 2-3 years down the line, I kind of realized that having a kid put everything in perspective as far as what my priorities were. That's when I decided to start doing a business. That's when I said, you know what, I need to get ahead. I need to start going. I need to get my shit straight.
Maybe that's what needed to happen in your life. Like, everything happened for a reason, in a way where it really lit up this like ambition in you to want to be a better version of yourself, not just for you, but for your children and your life and their future. So like, maybe that was meant to happen.
Yeah.
You know? Like, well, maybe it did, because it happened already. You know?
Yeah, right. But like going back to that thing, like, I would have told myself that. You don't say, like, oh, and what are you gonna do? And like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. You're fucking 18. You don't know anything. Like, you're the dumbest shit ever. Like, you think you know everything, which is the worst thing to have. Even me right now, I have that humility where it's like, I know I don't know what the truth is, or facts or things. Excuse me. And I'm drinking coffee. And so that's one of the biggest aspects is at 18, you need that guidance. These arguably are the most important moments in your life, and they are. And I know that, realizing that, I tell my sister exactly what to do and what to expect. Because a lot of times Like nowadays, these people are doing the same thing we do. Which, can you blame them? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think like it's important to have role models in your life, right? And we did all have role models, and we all have good parents. Like they tried to provide the best that they could, but there was always like a little bit of lack of education, maybe in terms of like, how do I guide my children to like do well in school and like help them understand that, you know, they have to make important life decisions because you never know what like situation you're going to be in, right? Like I don't know, there could have been so much that could have happened, but I think I really firmly believe, and like I firmly believe in everything happens for a reason. And I know it sounds cliche, but I firmly believe that everything really does happen for a reason. And I'll just say that the reason, I mean, I could have been in the same situation as you, probably. We'll get later onto that, like why the biggest reason that I wouldn't be in that situation. But I really do think I had mentors, and I sought out mentors, and they really helped guide me and like just kind of. And dude, honestly, it's because I saw everything that was happening around me, and I just knew that it was going to be very difficult for me to be in that type of situation.
You know, you had that awareness. That's what's cool. Yeah. Well, I let it get to me like over. Like it was like I do agree with you. You know, everything like, does happen for a reason.
It just happens for a reason. Yeah. Like maybe it didn't happen to me because I would have probably not been able to handle it and thrive like you did. Like, you know, because
we all react differently.
We all react differently. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So maybe things just happen a certain type of way for whatever reason. And we're here now, right? Like, we're here now because you're right. I know it does change you. It changes your life.
Yeah, it does. No, and I'll say this. Like a lot of people say, would you do it again? Right. That's really kind of difficult to say. You know, would I, if I had a chance to change it? First off, we don't. We don't have
I have a time machine in my room. What are you talking
we
about?
don't have the power to change it, right? So first off, right, noting that. The second thing is it's real difficult because that extreme hardship that I went through, and I'm not saying it's the hardest thing ever, right? Because there's people who go through arguably worse and more difficult. But you know how that whole cliche where, you know, diamonds are made in the rough and shit like that? I fucking hate cliches. I do. And why? Because they're simple to use. They're too easy. They're too fucking easy. You're a diamond in the rough, sweetheart. I hate that. I hate that. But look, it's perfect. It is. It is. I'm not going to lie. So that's one of the things that you realize is that you stress yourself so much that that's when you change. And that's my point. Having gone through that extreme hardship is why I think the way I think right now.
100%. I 100% agree. I think when you experience something so like that shakes your world up, you have no choice but to be a pivotal moment in your life where it just, you pivot and you just have to drastically change for survival. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you did that. So I don't know. That's really good.
No, but that's why
I shared that because I didn't know all of this.
No, and I know, and I mean, it's something that it gets deep, and honestly, I could cry about it. Like I can, like, not to be a little bitch about shit.
Cry,
like I
we
just
need
want
the
to
good
cry.
ratings.
Yeah,
we need more views.
We need the drama. No, like I can cry because it's not like out of sadness. It's more out of just that sheer emotion that you don't realize that you've been through until you start talking about it. So you're like, damn, like. That was pretty intense. That's why you cry. For an
18-year-old, that's what I'm saying. Like you, on top of like everything happening in the world, you have to be now responsible for two people essentially, right? Because this is the mother of your child, and you want to make sure that she's healthy and then that your child is healthy. So, dude, of course, like that's what I'm saying. I cannot imagine. Like I had so much fear of even now. That's what I'm telling you. I don't think I could ever have kids because kids are a huge like responsibility in terms of like you got to take care of them. Now you're the protector. Now you're the provider. Now,
and I'll tell you, it's the most worthwhile thing. I'm telling you, it's scary, and I know you're probably like you mentioned the dog thing. It's a completely different thing, which we'll argue about it later, right?
I know it's a
I know.
I just compare, but I'm saying if I'm having difficulty and I don't have patience to just. He's great. I love my dog. He's a great companion. No, I'm saying, but no, but like you have to come back and you like early, and you have to be aware of your dog because you need to walk him out, and he has a routine, and he, you know, it's like it's just a routine, and I had not been responsible for anything else in my life other than myself. You know, after I left high school, I was on my own, and that's all I was responsible for.
I'll be honest though, I'll give you props because I think dogs are harder to take care of. Because you got to establish that love for them. Like the kid is easy to establish love and the motivation because it's you and you see yourself in them, And so that it's selfish, but it's why you want to take care of him as opposed to other babies. And then after like maybe a year or two, you start actually having this empathetic value for every person, every little kid that you see. You're like, oh, you're so cute, specifically because you compare them to your son. So anytime you see like anytime I see a baby or something like in Syria or those bombs and shit, and I see some little kid like hurt or something, the reason I get super sad about it, other than the fact is because they're small, is because of their innocence, and because I know I can imagine my son in that position, and it hurts. It breaks my fucking heart. That's why it's easy to take care of him, because that motivation is there.
I would totally argue with that. There's no way that it's easier to raise a dog than a child. There's harder, I think, to raise a dog than a child. That's what I'm saying. I agree. I mean, I don't agree. Well, that's ridiculous.
If the
that's
goal,
a human being, boy.
I know. Well, like
maybe maybe I will agree a little bit, because eventually your son will be able to take care of himself.
Yeah,
the dog.
That's one. It's never going.
Like I have to feed him. I have to make sure he goes out to the restroom, comes back, and I have to do that every single day.
Exactly. If the ultimate goal was to keep him safe as long as possible, that's why I'm saying it's easier. Because at any point, if I own a dog and they piss me off, I'll send his ass outside. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, hey, someone wants this dog to take care of because he bit my fucking leg last time, and I don't like him no more. If my son bites my leg tomorrow, I'll be pissed off for like an hour, and then later on I'll forget about it.
Yeah.
So like that's my point. Like if the ultimate goal was to like how long you can take care of him and how much you can handle it, the dog I think is harder.
But I could just give up the dog.
That's my point. That's my point. And
so how is it harder?
Because with a son, it's not as easy to say.
That's what I'm saying. It's not easier to raise a child than a dog. But we're gonna agree to disagree on this one.
Yeah. I don't know. You're full of shit. You're full of shit. You don't fucking know. I'm just joking. I've owned a dog and I have kids.
And what happened to the dog?
I gave him away.
There we go.
Because I can't give him my kid.
Case closed.
Okay, look. So going back to, that's why I stopped talking to everyone. And I've seen a lot of repercussion from a lot of people. Like, I won't say any names, but there's some people that look at you with like, fuck, bro, we used to talk and now we don't. And they want to blame you. And it's like, bro, like, I didn't do this because I hate you. I have different, and it's a different mindset, because I think around 22 or 21 years of age, when you would hang out with people, there's two different things. There's like a totally different thing to talk about as opposed to what you want to talk about. You want to talk about your kids. You want to talk about your experience and what's happening. And they want to talk about, that's my point. They want to talk about the club at 22. They want to talk about what new drugs they're doing and how it affected this badass trip, bro. Like, that's what I noticed. There's a buddy of mine who I would go and you could see all they talk about is the most immature shit ever at 22. And I was like, I have a kid.
Yeah.
And I have a responsibility. And
you were just on a different like level, a different playing field. I will say this, and I don't know if you remember the situation, but you brought it up about the disassociating yourself with things. I came back one time and I hit you up and I'm like, hey, like, let's go meet up and just catch up.
I didn't reply.
No, you did. We went to Subway. Remember we went to Subway?
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking, but you were like a little bit disconnected though, in a way. I was like, you were like disconnected in a way, and I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, what's going, but I didn't go deep into it because I'm like, I was like, well, you're going to be talking about you mean, of course, you were going through like that transition of like, not to put your business on blast, but like just partners. And then I think you were going to have your second child or something like that. I don't remember. You just weren't, I was not a priority. Like you're like, dude, you're going through your life. You're going through my, like, you're going through your life. I'm going through my life. So you're kind of like, we're cool, we're friends, but there was a little bit of a disconnect. And I did lend you a book. It was a psychology book.
I fucking remember that book.
I never got the book back. Actually,
the whole
$400.
Yeah,
the reason we're having this podcast is because I wanted to bring that up. I want my book back.
I remember about that book, and I remember you were nagging me about it
because I said, dude, oh my, because I was taking the psychology course and we were talking about all these things, and I'm like, you have a lot of issues. Here's this book. I cannot help you. No, because I never even opened it. Was like a textbook, right? But it was like a lot.
Why the fuck would you give someone that? Who does that? Here's my textbook for my class. Please give it back later. Who does that? If you're giving it, you're not going to get it back.
No, I was lending it to you. I said, read it, like borrow it.
And I think we were talking about some psychology shit. Look, I apologize for that.
Where's my book?
Yeah, I don't know where the hell it is. I moved a lot over these years.
No, but no, it was just, and I did it, man, now I think about it, here's a self-help book. And it wasn't even it was just a lot of different terminologies about different type of psychological behaviors and all that kind of stuff. It was just interesting, and we were talking about it.
Here's what I'm grateful for, though, is the fact that I'm able to find myself at this time. There's some people who are like older than 40, 50, and they're still fucking trying to figure themselves out.
I agree.
I'm still trying to figure myself out.
I was gonna say I'm gonna probably be one of those persons.
No, I mean, I think you pretty much have I think you've had yourself figured out since early high school. And the reason I say this is because you've always had these clear goals. But we'll talk about that later. Yeah, because I really want to get into this is about that. Me right now. No. I mean, I think because here's the thing. We've been talking about me for the longest time, and I think that's what this episode is going to be about. Like specifically my interview, because that was one on the books.
I'm telling you, spotlight.
Yeah, I know. Right now,
whole birthday party in first grade.
The light is kind of on me.
Some things just never change.
No, so that's why. Look, ultimately, that's why I had that gap. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I have a different amount of what do you call it when you're
self-aware?
Confidence. I have confidence, like, about myself, because I know who I am. Not like I know who I am. Like I know my position and my stances, and I know that if I talk to you and you don't like me, I don't have to take it to offense, or I don't have to worry about people approving me. That's where I think is how I don't mind meeting people, because it's a big thing when you meet people from high school and it's a different path. You know, they're barely getting married, and it has a lot to do with, excuse me, with people I meet like for photo sessions. I'm a photographer. For photo sessions, and then they're from high school and we're different people. Before I would be like kind of, oh God, what are they gonna think of me now? Like they're gonna want to ask questions, or I got a little fat. A little. Like a little. I have 2 kids, bro. What do you want? So like that's the thing. You start worrying like, fuck, they're gonna worry about it. But after a while, I'm like, you know what, dude? I have a girl. I have my wife. I have my kids. I'm happy. I'm great. Thank God I'm well off. I'm not like well off. I'm trying to say like I'm not struggling. Yeah. And I'm thankful for that. So I know my position. That's where I think when you messaged me, I think about the podcast, I'm glad you did, because I've been meaning to for real about like having these type of things with you, but you feel weird because I know I've been putting like, to put it in a more simpler term, I know I've been putting you off like for these like anytime. But I'm glad you did. And when you messaged me, I was like, you know what? Let's go. Let's do it. Let's make this podcast. Let's make this happen. No excuses. We just need to start doing it.
Yeah, no, I always just knew that we had
I think we have like 6 more minutes. Not like for the total, like for this episode, because we've been talking for like close to an hour already. Okay. It's easy, right? Yeah. I think that's one of the concerns that Michael was bringing up. We
didn't even do an intro though. We did. Like we did do an intro, but
I think it was a small one.
We just got up into high school.
But that's good. I think that's a good start. I think it was good. I thought it was good. But I think one of the concerns that Michael had was, what are we going to talk about, and how are we going to make sure to keep that energy going? But I mean, we talked. I think it was good. Yeah, it's good. It's going good. It's just organic. That's what it is. That's what this conversation, this podcast is all about. Is organic conversation. This is scripted, but just for the sake of organization, and of course, because I mean, we could talk here for 4 hours. I could talk for 4 hours about random things, but I mean, for the sake of not branching off into different subjects, that's why we have that that organization where we keep our notes and whatnot. But yeah, that's why we kind of stopped talking.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know that you were going through like all of that, but I also figured, I'm like, dude, this guy's on another life. Like he's, you know, we were in completely like different points in our life. Right. And so I was not offended at all. Like I totally understand that this guy has a family now. That's cool, you know, but I always told people, even when they get into relationships, like you were that type of person though. You would like, when you were in a relationship with someone, you would just like prioritize like that person.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest problems that I have. And not right now. Antes, before, I would have that issue where the whole world would shut down. My dad has that issue actually. That's what I'm saying. Like, shout out to you, Dad.
I don't know how. Not that it wasn't healthy, but I was like, man, like that's.
No, it's not healthy. It's not. I'm gonna be straight about it. It's not healthy.
I don't know if it is because I've never been in a situation because I've never been in a relationship.
You're prioritizing one person. It's not healthy for anyone.
And then when they would break up, they'd be like, oh, where you at? Let's hang out. Let's do all of this. And I'm like, dude, I already have, not that I have other friends or like other people, but it always happens in relationships when some of my friends get in a relationship, they change. And I'm like, that's cool.
They expect you to be ready.
Yeah, I was like, but I'm not gonna be waiting for you. Like,
no, and I understand.
You know
it does
that's
feel.
why I would like
it feels wrong. It does feel bad. It does.
Stuff.
Is it really offensive? Is what I'm saying. Like,
no, I was like I said, I was not offended at all. Luckily, because I am a very social person, and I had friends from.
I have other people.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just understood what your life, and I've always. That's what I'm telling you. You asked me earlier about like if there's people that I like prefer not to hang out with. Like, there's certain types of people, but at the same time, I don't mind giving people that benefit of the doubt when I meet them, because I never know where that relationship will go or what will transpire from that. So I have like a Rolodex of people that I connect with, right? Yeah. And there's people that are already married. There's people that are 10 years older than me. There's people that are younger, and I love having different types of conversations with everybody. Of course. I'm like, let me just reconnect with him and see, what he's been up to.
No, but that's good that you have that practice. That's what I'm saying. I feel like you have yourself figured out as far as like where your position is to other people, for the most part.
For the most part,
because you still got some shit to work.
I got work.
No, we all do. I do too. But yeah,
more than others.
No, that's why that's basically the relationship we have. And there's a lot more stories, which I'm pretty sure we'll get to in other episodes of what the conversation is about and, relating. But we have basically childhood friends, right? And then like moments of absence where and I think this goes for everyone. We all have these moments where we kind of disassociate from our own friends, and then later on you kind of connect, and then later on you disassociate and whatnot.
Yes.
The thing about Michael is that we've been like, it wasn't just like one of the friends that I have. He was a close friend, like, because we would go over to each other's houses. We knew our moms, friends, family, sisters, brothers, and people knew that, hey, these guys are like, I would guess that's what you call it. Is that a best friend, right? What? No, but like, I guess it was under the classification of what a best friend was. Like, that was, oh, that's your best friend, and what are you guys doing, and this, and it was always like a dynamic. I like to think of what we were in high school was like a dynamic duo, as far as, oh yeah, where's Michael? If Michael's there, where's Victor? And Victor there, where's Michael? It was always that thought. I think at one point you even mentioned to me in high school how you hated that everyone always assumed you knew where I was, and vice versa. Like, hey, where's Michael, bro? Or who's
and wouldn't even people think like when you hang out with someone, they're like, you guys look alike, like
they would think that we're brothers or some shit, like cousins, like that after a while. But
I found it extremely offensive.
It's crazy. You can't match with the looks, bro.
But no, that's cool.
So you have a beard, you're trying to cover that weak ass chin. I'm just joking. What do you call it?
Are you jealous because you can't grow a beard?
I can't. I am, look, for real, I am jealous because you can fucking trim that shit real badass, and like I can't.
I can shave, and then like tomorrow I'll have aftershave. Like I have a 5 o'clock shadow.
Shit,
okay, well, let's start wrapping it up
for this episode.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. We'll stay tuned for our next episode.
We'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.